It was a gun.
I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Can't be
forward.
like a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have
Corrupt
sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
I'm Joe Mennell, co-producer of Street Talk, and today's topic is corruption.
My name is William Gumete, and I'm the founder and chairperson of Democracy Works Foundation.
My name is Mark Hayward. I'm an activist of many years, from the days of the Treatment Action Campaign, Section 27. These days, I'm trying to be a journalist, and I'm an editor of a section of the Daily Maverick called Maverick Citizen.
I am Debo all the way in Pretoria, Sarangua, and I am a traditional practitioner and gender-based violence activist.
Corruption, it's a big trending word. It's in all the media. Only, I think yesterday, the top clergyman in the country came out saying that corruption during the pandemic was actually genocide. So really, the question to talk about is corruption. Who cares? Have we just got so used to hearing about it, so bored? There's been no accountability. We've had the Zondo Commission, we've had the Aga Commission, we've had the Amabungani journalists. It's all the information's there, and yet, what's happened?
Well, I think sadly, corruption has become a fact of political life. It seems that often, sometimes even good politicians, once they get close to power, resources, money, are unable to keep their hands in their pockets. You know, I was very disappointed about the continued sagas with Gauteng Health Department and Bandile Masuku, the MEC, who I think many of us thought was a new generation of people who would avoid corruption. And then we see the depth of what is happening there. But I think, Joe and colleagues, that you asked the question, who cares? Well, we should all care, because corruption steals resources out of the mouths of the poor. Corruption steals homes. Corruption steals healthcare services. Corruption steals educational opportunity. So the question, I think, is how do we as people, as ordinary people, ensure that we are eternally vigilant, that we force accountability, that we force oversight, and that we close the loopholes for corruption? I think if we think that somebody else is going to fix us for us, we're going to be waiting for a long time.
Mark's point is it's up to us to do something. And from where you're sitting, Timoko, what does that mean? How can that be put into practical action?
Listen, Joe, I'm just going to shoot straight from the hip. We are going to continue to suffer and struggle and deal with the word corruption when people are just basically being greedy and people are being selfish, and we support them. We keep supporting the people to screw us over. We keep supporting a government that does nothing for us. We keep supporting the people who keep on showing us that they put themselves first. The ruling party takes care of the ruling party. The ruling party supports the ruling party, and anybody that goes against them is somehow silenced, either by being bought or in other ways that I am not sure about. So I'm not gonna mention it. But what we know for sure is that when somebody comes out to challenge them in any way, we no longer hear from them, or they are under their big umbrella. So that means they're also being corrupted. And somebody can go into the politics with good intentions, but after a while, they then start singing the same tune with the people. And it's our fault when we go into those booths and then we put a cross on a box that we shouldn't be putting a cross on, all because our support and our loyalty is right now misplaced, because it has been clouded for so long by so many little things. I mean, I sit here as a Black South African woman whose daily struggle is survival. And to be a part of a government, or to be led by a government that basically tells me to sit down and shut up on a daily basis, that's a problem. And then to have the same government to say, no, let the people give us the list of the people who are corrupt. They are the list. They know the list. They created the list. They know. They are the ones signing the papers. They are the ones giving the tenders.
William, I mean, do we need a kind of Belarusia, kind of uprising of the people? How is this? How are we going to break this mold that has become endemic? It's become sort of into the very fiber. Well, how do you see the future? What are we going to? How we get out of this?
What we need to do really is, and perhaps the civil society, we haven't done it effectively since 1994, is to, to make the link clearly between high unemployment, no services at a hospital, or poor services at a hospital, poor at the schooling, and so on, to corruption. There is a sense that, corruption is cost-free. That's the first thing. And the second thing, just in terms of political parties, it all began with the ANC as a political party becoming systemically corrupt. It then, other institutions in society, and then the society itself.
I always say in South Africa, because of our constitution, we're some of the most powerful people in the world in terms of our legal power. The question is, are we using that power effectively? Tebogo talked about the fact that we complain about the leaders of these political parties, but keep going back to vote for them. So who should we be voting for? How do we build power from below? How do we ensure accountability, not just at the level of the national government, but at the level of provincial government, at the level of local government? How do we build citizens' power? So we have to change the locus of power to people and to position it closer to the ground.
So, Tebogo, the challenge, I mean, William agrees, we all agree, it's out of control, it's unacceptable, and yet our vote probably isn't going to change this.
I will quote former president, the late Nelson Mandela, when he said that if the ANC does to us what apartheid did, then we need to do to ANC what we did to the apartheid. So basically, it means power, but the people must take back their power and go to the streets and shut the country down. I'm a firm believer in going out there and making enough noise until people who need to listen actually take notes. Because the more we sit and the more we say, okay, they are going to take each other to the commissions, they're going to discuss this, they're going to discuss that, we are suffering. There are children suffering and dying. There are women suffering and dying. The people of South Africa are dying. The education system is dying. The justice system is not operating as it is. So the government basically violates us on a daily basis. We speak about violence, we speak about injustice, and we miss the Constitution when it says every person has the right to freedom, every person has the right to shelter, every person has the right to safety. But our government continues to take that away from us.
Protest is critical, and we need more protests. And we need more challenging protests. Actually, we need civil disobedience, because, as you've said, government has found ways to accommodate and absorb and neutralize our protests. We need protest that makes government feel the pain of our pain and makes government feel uncomfortable and to have to change. I'm all for that, but I also think that we mustn't discount the power of our vote. When you, Tebogo, you said the vote doesn't change anything. Well, it's how we combine the vote with protest. It's how we combine on-the-ground mobilization with holding political parties to account. In our country, millions and millions of young people don't register to vote because they no longer believe that the vote is going to make a change. With respect to young people, I think that is mistaken. We need millions and millions of young people to register to vote and to organize.
The younger people have given up on the ruling party and have given up on the government and have given up on and the system of voting and all of that. Because when it's almost time to vote, these ruling parties go out there to reach out to their grandparents, to their townships. All of a sudden, they're putting up toilets. All of a sudden, they're putting up running water. All of a sudden, they're building houses just to get votes. And once they do get those votes, then the service delivery stops. So the younger generation is sitting back and looking at that and thinking, these people are playing with us. They're not going to buy into that.
I think what will really galvanize people, and young people in particular, as Tebogo is saying, is being much clearer about what we do want to do with power. 59% of people in our country are under the age of 30. That's where the power is. That's where the future is. So how do we define the country that young people want?
Listen, I'm a Black woman. That's obvious. You can tell by my hair. And I love Black people. I'm all for my people and power to the people. But my people, when they have power, my people abuse power. They don't know how to handle power. They don't know how to manage power. They don't know how to fix in a powerful position. They in a position of power, they become more corrupt. So that needs to be taken away. We need to hit the ruling party where it hits the most. We need to take back their power because that's what they're using to control everybody. Mr. President, I believe that Mr. President is the boss of everybody. Like, he can make the decisions and make things happen. So who is his boss? He operates like he has bosses. So I want to know who the president's boss is.
So William, activism. First, William, do you think that Cyril Ramaphosa can he solve this, or is he part of the problem?
It would be very, very difficult for Cyril Ramaphosa to tackle corruption within the ANC. He can do it, of course, but he is going to need moral courage. Up to now, he hasn't shown the kind of moral courage. What would it mean? What does moral courage mean in the context of the ANC in a way to deal with corruption? It would mean that he would really have to go out and, instead of writing letters, actually start firing people at the top end of the ANC. And which means there's going to be a response then from those people he's going to fire. They're going to call for his head in the same way that people, voted out Thabo Mbeki before. So they're going to do the same with him. So does he have the courage to break the ANC? Because I don't think the ANC as it is now, because it's so systemically corrupt, that any reforms, there's very little that one can do in terms of cleanup. So if there is going to be a genuine and serious cleanup, it is going to mean splitting and breaking up the ANC. So in a sense, a corrupt-free future, unfortunately, is not going to lie with the ANC. It may lie with one section of the ANC, a good section of the ANC. But, the ANC and Ramaphosa as the leader of the ANC will have to make the historical decision to go for broke to deal with corruption. And if it's going to do that, it will mean cutting off the corrupt elements of the ANC. It would just mean that a part of the ANC will split and the good people that are remaining in the ANC will go their own way. And that will realign South Africa's politics. But it also, in addition to that, also voters must start voting differently also.
My dream is to live in a country under a different ruling party. My dream is to be in a country that is corruption-free. My dream is to see the people take their power back.
My dream is, for people not to vote along racial solidarity lines, not to vote for political parties because their parents and grandparents voted for these parties, and not to vote for parties just because of struggle credentials, and for people to vote in parties on the merits of those parties.
My dream is the dream I've always had, which is that all people have dignified lives, all people have equality, opportunity, and all people are able to experience the joy of life rather than the pain and suffering, which is what so many people experience of life today.
My dream is the same as your dreams, really, that we, the citizens of this country, can clean up this mess